What's good, boys? Okay, so there's a topic I wanted to talk about, by John. Okay, listen. So, and if you're like an overthinker, kind of like me, you'll relate to this. We tend to have this society of haters in our mind. That's what I like to call it, society of haters, and it tends to be formed by people that we used to know that we negatively, that we like associate negative connotations to, kind of because they were that version of them in that time were dicks to us. That I don't know if that made grammatical sense. Okay, but yeah, that version of them, like that 2023 version of them. Sorry, itchy mustache. But that 2023 version of them, at that time, at that place, was like a dick to you. So now that you haven't seen them in a while, like from like school or things like that, they're just like in your mind, they're just like the biggest dicks. Okay, and because of this, they're sorry, low power mode. Jesus, a lot is going on in this video already. But yeah, anyway, what these people are in your mind, they kind of form like this negative hater society. It's kind of like that meme that you always see, is like that one guy who always thinks he has haters and things like that. It's like, I think that's what people mean. And if you're the one watching this video and you think that's the case, I don't think that's necessarily a complete and utter bad thing, as long as you don't make it like a part of your personality. And I'll explain why. It has some advantages to it, in my opinion, if you framework your mind properly. And that is that, again, let me get back to explaining what I was. These people that you disliked kind of formed this society in your head, in your mind. And the thing that we fail to realize sometimes is that even though these people might have been dicks to us or bullied us and things like that, sometimes it isn't their doubt and the things that they say that still affect us. It's kind of what our mind does to discourage us from doing stuff. It kind of tricks, like our mind is a tricky thing. It'll trick us. So listen carefully. What our mind will basically do, and this is my theory, okay? What it'll basically do is, if it wants to discourage you from doing something and things like that, it'll basically say that, but by taking the form of someone that you previously disliked. Or maybe it was an ex, maybe it was someone who bullied you, maybe it was someone you so-called a friend, maybe it was, someone that actually discouraged you. But even then, even if they actually discouraged you, right? Maybe, just maybe, think this, okay? Maybe, number one, that person might have moved on and has changed, right? And why is that important to think? It's like, because the person that is now forming in your mind is still that version of them that lived in that year and was in that time frame. So maybe they're just completely different. And, for a lot of you that won't like settle in your mind, it's like, well, I still, to me, they're still a dick, and that doesn't justify how they treated me and things like that. But like, what I'm trying to tell you is that your mind will still trick you into thinking that these people are still saying these things about you. And I just want to say, there's a good chance that they don't care about you. And if they do, and they still think about these things, then I think they got bigger problems in life, And honestly, I just feel sorry for them. And I've talked about that in like one of my hater videos, is like, you should feel sorry for these people. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't necessarily justify what they did to you, right? But I'm not even talking about these people in terms of like what they said, the context of what they said, who they are now, things like that. I'm just talking about how your mind will literally, to discourage you from doing something like going to the gym or doing that or doing this, it will take the form of those people and manifest them in your mind and then tell you not to do those things. I don't know if any of you relate to what I just said, and maybe I'm the only one who thinks the way I do. That's not to like boast. I don't think I'm like some sort of special or some shit, or like, the chosen one. But I'm just saying, like, your mind will do that to you, and it'll do that to discourage you. And you can kind of use that to your advantage in some ways. Like I talked about this like David Goggins kind of mindset where like, I think Goggins talked about this at one point. He was like, look, I tend to play this like mixtape instead of music. He tends to play like a mixtape of all of like what his haters said, and he uses that to kind of like prove them wrong. Might sound corny and shit. I don't really care, but listen, you should probably do that too, because honestly, it's just another source of motivation and fuel. Like I've talked about this before. If you're in the gym, bro, and you're going crazy and you can't go more, just think about that. Like use the manifestation of that person, and use your mind as an ally. Like see how you can use it to your advantage, even if it's being negative, even if it's manifesting those people and saying those things to you. What that really is just self-doubt. It's not that person that was saying these things. Maybe it is, but the fact that it lives in your mind is what makes it self-doubt, because your mind is the thing that created it. Your mind is the thing that created and manifested that person inside of you, and then told you the things that they did. And one other thing that really helped me kind of understand this concept was like a concept in Stoicism about how like if you insult a rock, right? You could sit there all day insulting the rock, but it won't say anything back. And, that just kind of told me all I need to know. And what I got from that was, look, people can't actually really hurt you with their words if you don't let them. Like it's something that your mind literally makes up. And I know a lot of you might get mad at that and pissed off. It's like, bro, words hurt, things like that. And yeah, sure they do. But I'm not saying it justifies what they're saying. I'm not saying that the words that they say aren't hurtful. I'm just saying if you could wire yourself in a manner that allows you to not get hurt by them, then you'll realize that a lot of what people say from like external things, like people are external things, right? So a lot of things that come externally into your mind, right? The way you take them affects your mindset as well. And that's kind of how these seeds get planted of like your mind manifesting these people and talking shit about you and talking in a negative manner about you. And now this person might not even be that way anymore. Or maybe this person isn't even alive. Maybe this person, isn't even around you in your life anymore, and your mind will still choose to manifest them. And I think that's a form of self-doubt. So you got to be very careful about that. Your mind is tricking you into doing something, into not doing something you should be doing, kind of thing. And yeah, that's just my take on it. But you can use it to your advantage, again, and you could be like, all right, I could use this hate to motivate me. Anytime your mind manifests it, especially in the gym. Like I hope it manifests in the gym, because I go so goddamn hard in the gym. Like every time, like I feel myself failing, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that one motherfucker. Okay, easy. But other times it's like I can't really do that because you're not in an environment where you can, how would I say this? Transmute your energy into something. Like you can't just go out of your way to punch someone and be like, oh, it was just like a hater I was thinking in my mind and I need to transmute energy or some shit. Like, yeah, you can't do that, that's jail time, buddy. But yeah, so you'd probably want to do that. What you could do is like convince yourself that it's not really like real, and that's where that idea of stoicism comes in as well. It's like, yeah, this just isn't real. Like, it can't really hurt me. It's in my mind. And, I encourage you to read up on it or listen about it. Like, you got to pretend like you're almost a rock. Like, a rock can't be affected by these things. You're just so stable and in your position and so secure. You can't be insulted, period. You're just a rock. Like, I know that sounds stupid as shit, but, like, you're just a rock. You just can't be insulted. Like, and maybe you might feel that way in like the moment, but you don't necessarily need to express it, and then you can like internally deal with it. Like if you create frameworks, and you have to consciously do this over and over again, and I always mention consciously do it, because it's not something that like everybody thinks it's just something you magically have, and maybe you have it more than your peers and things like that. Maybe you're more patient. Maybe you can deal with that more. Maybe you're better at like rough talk, things like that. But like, you can also develop things like that. It isn't just like genetic black pill shit. You know what I mean? So like consciously learn to develop that and be like, look, this isn't real, and like it's just kind of like a part of being human. You know, you get insulted sometimes, you get hurt. Oh, okay, move on, or you use it as motivation, one or the other. But yeah, you will have a society of haters within your mind, basically, and whether you use it to your advantage is up to you. And I just gave you two ways in which you can. So it's gonna take time to implement. This is not some like magical pill, you know. And you could write about the kind of frameworks you could use, or you could write about the kind of like people that you see in your mind. I haven't done that personally because I just like, you know, I'm just gonna be honest, but like writing has helped me with things that were very, very hard for me to understand. But this personally wasn't very hard for me to understand, and it was just easy to integrate within my mindset by telling myself like a few things, and consciously kind of saying it over and over again. And when the opportunity arises, like that was the best time to test myself. And I would always say like, oh, this is like me testing myself if someone like ever insulted me or things like that. So that's just the way I think, though. So if you want to write about it, I think that could really serve you as well. So, yeah, I think that was all. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you. Peace. Take it easy.